I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He is considered by many to be one of the finest jazz singer and pianist, no other than Mr. Rick DellaRatta.
Hey, Daniel, how are you? Great to be here.
Yes, and welcome to Book 101, Mr. Rick. And
Thanks.
can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Rick DellaRatta, and I'm the founder of Jazz for Peace. And of course, Jazz for Peace being a musical organization that helps outstanding causes through the art form of jazz. So naturally, I am also a pianist, vocalist, and composer.
Yes, and last week we talked about on my music 101 those music that really immerse you inside you. And we do impronto, right?
Yes, I was doing kind of free improvisations, all of them titled Free JA because it's kind of dedicated to the current state that we're in now with our freedoms. A lot of concerns about our freedoms, freedom of speech and freedom of journalists to be able to write about what they see and have journalism integrity and of course the bombing of innocent civilians, all related to this Julian Assange situation. So I've been calling all the improvisations Free JA.
Yes, sounds interesting, Mr. Rick. So nowadays that we are facing climate change, do you have music for climate change?
I do. I have so basically this book that we were talking about, another voice in the wilderness. It's a whole bunch of, they call it aphorisms or something like that. And it was written by the great climate scientist Guy McPherson. And yes, I can do an improvisation for the current state of our climate.
Definitely. And right now in Canada, every summer we are burning, just right now in Alberta. And we want to dedicate this song for people to be aware what's happening to the world. We need to be part of this global catastrophe that is happening. Just like in Spain, they have droughts for 2 years now. So people, let be aware and do our part to combat climate change.
Okay, great.
unique, one of a kind.
Thank you, Daniel.
When you're playing that music, what comes to your mind?
Well, the book that you mentioned is actually was written by one of the world's, or many people say the world's, foremost climate scientist. And what happened was, I give something called the Honorary Ambassador Award, and these are to people who have gone above and beyond, in order to make their contribution to the world and to society. And the first one I gave it to was Howard Zinn, who wrote the amazing book called the People's History of the United States. And then I also gave an award to Ralph Nader. I gave an award to the very first Chinese mayor in the United States, in Oakland. And then it came time around 2020, and I wanted to do something for the climate, and I was having trouble finding a climate scientist that was not on the payroll of these big oil companies. And of course, if you're getting paid by BP oil to write about the climate, obviously you're going to be biased. So I found this person, Guy McPherson, and I gave him the award. And he came up from Florida, where he was living at that time, to upstate New York to attend the event and receive the award. And then he ended up visiting Vermont and deciding to move to Vermont, where he lives now. But anyway, when he showed up to the concert, he gave me a book, and I opened the book, and it said, "To Rick, with awe, with respect, and with love, Guy McPherson." And the book is called Another Voice Crying in the Wilderness. And so that's where we leads us today with the situation that we're in with the climate that is quite extraordinary, an extraordinary situation where we're very concerned. My personal concern is with sea ice, because I'm very concerned that if the ice melts in the Arctic, there's a big changes that will take place with sunlight going directly into water, whereas it would normally reflect off of the sea ice. And there are just major changes occurring. And this person, Guy McPherson, is on the forefront of it. And this is his book, Another Voice Crying in the Wilderness. So when I was performing, I was thinking of some of the lessons that he, has some of his examples that he set, speaking about his research and the peer-reviewed research of all of his compatriots and others, and also the speech that he gave at my concert where I gave him the award.
Oh, very well said, Mr. Rick. So, as a founder of Jazz for Peace, what are the things that you may pursue to combat climate change?
Well, what we wanted to do with this award was try to see if we could get people to create awareness for what is going on, and try to at least consider the situation that we're in, and try to understand the challenges that we face. Most people are just kind of oblivious as to what's going on. And a lot of times when you say something about the climate that comes from your research, instead of what the corporations want you to say, you get attacked, as this man has been marginalized and all that kinds of stuff. So but we wanted to draw attention to what's going on with the climate, because I was noticing it in my travels. Some of the places I've been to were just, so hot they were almost unlivable at certain times of the year. And, there are so many extremes with the climate. And as was, forecasted, we would end up in extreme climate situations where you can get extreme cold and extreme hot. You have the waves, those jet streams going slower than they're supposed to go. And that's where you get like these incredible rains and also these incredible droughts, because the the jet stream won't move out of the area. And if it stays and it's a drought, you'll just stay in a drought for months and months. And if it comes in and doesn't move out and it brings precipitation, it'll just rain and rain and rain. And this is what you're seeing all over the world.
Yes, totally changing. So, do you
Mhm.
have a piece or a song for being aware?
Yeah, I can. So what I could do is maybe do something now, more visualizing the what I would like people to do to embrace the information better and become more aware of what's going on, so that we can try to see what we can do about it, and work together, hopefully as a species.
Bravo, Mr. Rick. What of a kind of awareness. So, Mr. Rick, what do you think as individual how we combat climate change?
Well, the a lot of the problems related to the climate are issues where um, people are using the information for their own personal gain. And this specific scientist, what he says is that there's not a lot you can do about the problems with the climate. A lot of them are baked in to the situation. We've gone past a lot of the tipping points. And so, what is really being advised right now is for us to uh, change our outlook to one of what is sacred, to a more sacred existence. So basically, what he's saying is, live life to its fullest and with integrity and with purpose. And by doing that, we can, live in a more healing environment where we can work together with each other. And, basically, in a situation like this, what he's trying to say is that, at the end of a situation where there's climate destruction, really what we have is love. Only love remains is his message, and that what we should do is work together as a species, to live with purpose and to live life to its fullest. And like he said, like I said earlier, with integrity and all of these important qualities. That's what's going to be needed for us to really just to survive in a positive way. Due to some of the devastation that's coming, and the best way to be able to face it and to deal with it is to really change our attitude so that we are living each day to its fullest potential in terms of doing the best that we can do for others.
So do you think we are late in doing our part?
Well, we're late at addressing some of the problems that we're facing. Like I said, one of the big problems is a situation where the sea ice, which used to be 9 meters thick and now is less than 1 meters thick, and if that ice were to melt, my big concern is that the sun would go directly into the ocean, and that would cause a lot of warming and create other tipping points, methane, etc., that are causing issues and causing us problems. But right now we're in a situation where our attitude in general has to change, and we have to really educate ourselves beyond the sort of situation where people are using the climate for their own personal gain, and rather look at it in a way with how can we really preserve and enjoy and make the most out of each day, in terms of you know living in a way that really makes sense and has purpose and has soulfulness.
Very well said, Mr. Rick. So do you think this climate change that we are facing is a part of the journey of the earth? Oh, we did it.
Well, it's really, in other words, either way, it won't matter, because what's happening to the climate is, if it's something that we can't stop, and it doesn't look like we can stop it, it's not going to matter whether we did it or we didn't. But, we have done a lot of things that have affected the climate. We've been bad stewards of the planet. The pollution that's gone on especially by multi-billion dollar corporations, has been phenomenal. And right now we're facing issues with extinction of species that are placing our own species at risk. You have really horrific horrific situations going on in the oceans with dead zones, um, and You have, insects that have disappeared in mass, and all kinds of issues. And it's quite possible. I mean, it's hard to believe that we didn't. I can't imagine that all of the things we did wouldn't amount to anything in terms of addressing the climate. So I think it's a combination. It could be climate changing on its own, but it also could be the things that we've done. I mean, the way I look at it is millions of years ago, there was a mass extinction. There were numerous of them, but the one I'm thinking about was one that was where volcanoes went off, and the volcanic activity caused all life on Earth to die, including the dinosaurs. And basically, it took something like 1,000,000 years for all of that volcanic air that really just, took up all the Earth and you couldn't even breathe, for that to come back into the ground so that we had air again. And that when all of that went into the ground, it's what we call fossil fuels. So we took the fossil fuels that were in the ground and we put them back into the air.
Yes, definitely.
So, we did that in order so that we could thrive. But the problem is, we've put back into the air that which caused our extinction in the first place.
Very well said, Mr. Reeks.
Well, that's why it's such a great time now to embrace peace and embrace, our greatest qualities, because, this is a situation where, it could be. I mean, first of all, our days are numbered anyway. It's a finite existence no matter what. But because of the problems with the climate, it could be later than we think. And so, there's every reason now for us to rise to the occasion, and, bring out the best of who we are and what we are, and our greatest qualities. And with that comes our best chance for anything, whether it's to enjoy each day or make the most out of each day, or to, fill up our spirit with good things and positive things. So, now is a time, especially with the situation in the climate looming, for us to really embrace our most outstanding qualities.
Yes. So, can you play a song for our Mother Earth?
Okay.
Bravo, Mr. Rick. Excellenti.
Thank you.
That's how we love you, Mother Earth. And when you're doing that piece, Mr. Rick, what feeling inside you?
I'm just trying to express the joy and thanks that I have for the great world that I was, that we were all born into, and just hoping that we can do our part to give thanks, and to let, I don't know, to let the spirits know how incredible and how incredibly lucky we were and we are to be alive in this beautiful world that we have.
Definitely. So before we go on, Mr. Rick, I want to shout out to the people listening. According to my ranking top in the last 30 days, Cameroon at number 5. Thank you so much, Cameroon. Algeria at number 13. Jordan at number 17. Georgia at number 38. Oman at number 73. Philippines at 149. Mexico at 159. Uganda at 221, and Rwanda at 90, number 54. Thank you for supporting this podcast, because this podcast is created to empower writers all over the world or musicians all over the world like Mr. Rick DellaRatta. So, Mr. Rick, what do you think the best highlight of the book that we're talking about?
Well, the book that we're talking about, the best highlight, one of the great things about it is that you can open it up to any page, and you can really, you don't have to read it from the beginning, because it's a bunch of different like allegories. They're like little paragraphs, and so any page you could start reading, you could read it backwards, you could read it forwards. And for example, I opened up a random page, and here's what I came to. I came to this little sentence: the time for blame has long passed. The time for shaming others has long passed. No blame, no shame. At the edge of extinction, only love remains.
Wow.
Yes, and that's what's so great about this book, because you can open it up to any random page. That's all I did now. I just randomly opened it up. Turned out to be page 20, and that's one of the they're just filled with little statements like that. Small little kind of poetic little sentences. That's what the whole book is.
Yes. So, do you think who will be blamed of what this climate change facing now? What we
Well,
are facing?
ultimately, I think people will try to blame people, but ultimately, it's not going to matter. Like, for example, here I open up to 37, and here's what 37 says: we are all in hospice now. Let's give freely of our time, wisdom, and material possessions. Let's throw ourselves into humanity and the living planet. Let's act with compassion and courage. Let's endow ourselves with dignity. Even if all the data and forecasts are incorrect, even if Earth can support infinite growth on a finite planet with no adverse consequences, please convince me there is a better way to live. So, in other words, what he's saying is, these are the conclusions that he's come to in his research. They're dire. He hopes that he's wrong, but in the event that he could be right, And we see it all around us, the climate changing so drastically. And in the event that any of these things are right, it's time for us to put our best foot forward as human beings, because we could be the last people that that reside on this planet if these tipping points are breached, and one thing leads to another. You get a domino effect of situations causing our demise.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So, what do you think make us unite each other to combat climate change?
Well, this is where it ties into Jazz for Peace, because my famous quote is, if we the quote I have, if you type in Rick DellaRatta and then you type famous quote into Google, you get this quote that basically says, if we fill our souls up with creativity and intellectuality and humanity, and all of these great qualities, if we fill our souls up with those great qualities, we will have a better chance to avoid the behavior that leads to destruction. So even if the planet is on a destructive course, in terms of a situation that can't be stopped with extinction and things of that nature, and the possibility of mass extinction of our species and our and the insects and the fish and all of that stuff. In the event of that, we still have the ability, whatever days we have left, however many there are, we have the ability to live with integrity and, live with spirit and love and passion, and stand for the great qualities that we believe in.
Yes, definitely. So, can you play a song for that unity of the humankind?
Okay.
Bravo, Mr. Rick. It's one of a kind. Let's people of the world, let's unite to combat climate change because this is the future of generation to come.
Yes, that is absolutely true. So, what we can do now is really, we can, you know, bring our best selves forward, play a good game of life each day, and use our spirit to help heal ourselves because there's decay everywhere, and with the planet, in many instances there may be nothing we can do, we don't know, but we do have to really bring our A game right now to this existence in order to best deal with what is in front of us. And so we have to heal ourselves. It's kind of one of those things where you have to put your mask on first before you can address the other people on the plane.
Yes, and stop blaming each other. We let's do unite and make this solution to combat climate change. So before we go on, I'm inviting you to listen to my other podcast, Food 101, our third season, with Chef Alessandro, one of the executive chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. So please do listen, Food 101. Plus one more, please do have a copy of my photography book, one of the finest flowers taken in Vancouver, British Columbia. So, Mr. Rick, please invite our listeners to buy the book that we're talking about.
Yes, so the book is called, once again, Another Voice Crying in the Wilderness. And it's a homage to a man named Edward Abbey. And Edward Abbey wrote a book 2 weeks before he died. He finished a book called A Voice Crying in the Wilderness. And this person, Guy McPherson, has done a tribute to his mentor, Edward Abbey. And he calls the book Another Voice Crying in the Wilderness. And I believe one great place to get this book and to learn about the climate and all of the things that are going on would be to go to GuyMcPherson.com. So that's GUY for Guy, and then McPherson is McPherson.com. And you can also type in, I believe, onlyloveremains.com or .org, something like that. But I believe you can also type in onlyloveremains.com, I believe. And that will also take you to GuyMcPherson.com.
Yes, let's support this book because this book will save us or will enlighten us more about climate change.
It'll really get us pointed in the right direction, because now it's absolutely imperative that we lift our consciousness.
Yes, Definitely. How about your Just for Peace, Mr. Rick? What are the activities that you want to share to us that people be aware of?
Well, one thing I'd like to do is read the poem. And this is the Jazz for Peace poem that started it all. I wrote this poem on 9/11, and what I'm going to do is recite this poem, and I'm going to recite it with some of the free JA, free improvisation underneath it. And I hope you'll be able to still hear the words. So I'd like to leave you with the words of the poem that started it all on the morning of 9/11, leading to a benefit concert series that's helped over 850 of the world's greatest causes, musical instrument donations from all over the world, and education programs in the schools. And of course, you can always find out more about Jazz for Peace at www.jazzforpeace.org. And for Rick DellaRatta, you can go to rickdellaratta.com. But here is the poem. I hear jazz for peace coming through the trees. And in my heart it fills me like a celebration. I see the light inspired by the past contributions of those that came before, laid the groundwork for us to build on. This universal language that is a gift for all mankind. When we speak it, people are enlightened by the creativity and artistry that stands for peace, and love, and humanity, and intelligence that leads to reaching potential that we have in our souls, so we can raise our total conscience and see that the gift of giving is our greatest privilege. I hear jazz for peace.
Wow, amazing, Mr. Rick. One of a kind.
Thank you so much.
So, do you think in the future you will arrange a concert for awareness of climate change?
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a really great idea. There is, if you go on YouTube and you type in, I believe it's Jazz for Peace introduction or Jazz for Peace, how we did it, something like that, you'll actually get to a video that starts out with footage from India with an event that we did for climate awareness. And, it's possible that we could do that. All we need is some people that want to, have us do the event in their city or state or country. So it could be people in Vancouver. If you know some people who want to do something for climate awareness, we could do a major event and get worldwide publicity and hopefully bring people together all over the world for a concert to raise awareness for the situation that we're in hopes to raise people's conscious and spirit in general so that we can prepare for what is ahead in the most positive and most prosperous way.
Definitely. And you are most welcome to come back and promote it on all my podcasts.
Okay, fantastic. We will definitely do that.
Okay, Mr. Rick, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
And can you come back and let's talk about your music and a lot more.
Okay, it'll be my pleasure, Daniel. Absolutely.
Bodycon people, see you soon.